Joss, I'm looking forward to doing some really useful work with you today.
Thank you. I'm looking forward to it as well.
What would that useful work be for you?
So the thing I'd like to bring to this conversation is it's quite a personal one, and it's something I've probably become much more aware of over the last couple of months during lockdown. I've really noticed that I start lots of things and don't finish them, and I kind of move on to the next thing, the next exciting, shiny thing before I finish something else. And I think that has become more apparent to me and become perhaps more of an issue for me, because I seem to have all these things that I haven't finished. They stay on my mental to-do list. And they kind of, I feel that they're blocking my thinking and my kind of broadening and creativity. So that's what would be really, really useful to work on today, just to kind of understand what's happening there, why I'm doing it, and maybe a great outcome would be, how can I stop doing it?
Okay, yeah. And so what is it about this that's so important right now?
I think I've been feeling quite overwhelmed by all the things that I've been doing, and a lot of the stuff is quite, it's positive. It's not all negative overwhelm. It's almost, I was speaking to somebody else yesterday, they were saying I've got a real fear of missing out. If I don't do this, I'm going to miss out on something. And I could really relate to that, because I'm like, maybe that's part of what's going on. So things like, I've signed up for loads of webinars and loads of courses and stuff like that, and I love it. It's great. It meets my, one of my needs to learn. But things like start which sounds vaguely ridiculous and small scale. But I kind of keep it in my mind about, I haven't finished that. I need to finish that. And there's a lot of shoulding going on for me as well.
And I'd like to say there's nothing ridiculous in this room.
I know. I know. I think I feel it's a bit ridiculous, because I think it's that thing about should. I should finish. You're brought up to finish something, do a job, finish it, and then move on to the next one. But yeah, I just don't seem to be able to do that right now.
So what would be a great result for you out of this session?
So a great result would be for me to have some more awareness of perhaps why I feel driven to doing this. Kind of what is it that's what's the thinking or the emotion or the driver behind, the starting something before I've finished anything else. And I feel, so I'm thinking in my mind, I've got a picture of plates spinning on sticks, that kind of magic trick that people, I don't know, a magic trick, but a trick that people do. That's what I'm actually seeing. And a great outcome would be for me to stop some of those plates and actually take them off and go, that's not a plate I need to be spinning right now.
Okay. Yeah. So we're looking at why, and it sounds like you're partly aware of that in the fear of missing out. There may be some other stuff there. And then what are you actually going to take off your plate of those things, even if you haven't finished them?
Yeah. And how can I let go of it? Because I think there's a sense of, I've got to keep them spinning, because if I take one plate off, what if that's the really important plate?
Oh, okay. Yes. And how would you know?
Yeah, quite.
Right.
There's quite a few things in there, but I think anything that would just give me some greater consciousness over it, and a way to maybe decide confidently what I can let go of. Great.
And how will you know that you are more conscious and more confident? by the end?
I think it will be a felt sense for me,
Mm-hmm.
of perhaps a bit more, a bit less pressure on myself, to keep all of these things going. And from a very practical perspective, what I'd love to do, sort of after we've had our conversation, is to, it's almost go through my plates and go, right, that one can go, that one can go, that one needs to stay.
Yeah. So you've already got a partial action plan of what you're going to do.
Well, I've got a desired outcome, let's say that. I wouldn't say it's an action plan yet.
Okay. So you're not yet ready to commit to that.
I think the problem is that I don't know. I'm ready to commit to it, in terms of what needs to happen, but the detail of which bits of it are still very fuzzy for me, and I think that's the bit I'd really like to think through, which will help me get to a point of I know exactly what I need to do about it.
Okay. Yeah. So we're looking for some detail. And so what's your sense of what we need to cover in order to get you to that place of consciousness and confidence?
I think it's about the kind of the reasoning, maybe, about why I feel compelled to, keep signing up for things, and not, I'm not talking about, literally signing up for things, but signing up for things, committing to things, and then not seeing them through. Because I feel that what I would like to do is to be confident when I commit to something. I want to be confident that I am actually going to finish it and see it through. So why do I say I'm going to do things? And by the way, these are things for me, not other people. I'm actually really good at, keeping promises and delivering on things. This is all about me, and I think actually I'm committing to things and not delivering on promises to myself.
Ooh.
That is the crux of it. Okay. Yeah.
And how does that feel when you don't deliver to yourself?
I feel disappointed, I think, in myself, and I feel that that voice in my head goes, oh, you never finish anything, and oh, you're great at all these ideas, but really, what's the point? And I feel like I collect stuff, like I collect things to do, because they feel like really good things to do, and I almost need that bit of filter going, and the self-talk, rather than being a kind of a telling off self-talk, rather a kind of helpful self-talk around, you think you want to do this, now really how realistic you're going to do it, do you really want to do it, and also what are you going to get out of it?
So it sounds like you want something more at the beginning as a vetting process.
Yeah, I think that's it, actually, because I am, I do finish books, by the way. I don't just not all of them. Yeah, I think that would be really helpful, actually, some sort of filtering process to help me sort of really think about, is this something I want, is it something I really want to do, and why, and what will it do for me, and am I really going to do it?
And how would you like us to do this work together today?
I think what would be really helpful is actually for you to really maybe call me out on some of the things I say, because I'm really good at letting myself off the hook. I'll say something like, yeah, okay, I do want to do it, and I'm going to ask, I'll sign up for it, I'll say I'm going to, and then I'll park it, and then it's still on that mental to-do list. So maybe a bit of sort of almost, critical reasoning around, really, is that really something like that?
Okay, so I'll just keep saying really.
Yeah, actually, that would probably be enough.
Okay. Okay. And so where would be a good place to start then in unpacking all of this?
Oh, maybe sort of looking at some of the kind of the drivers behind it. So why do I feel this compulsion to want to do new things, and what's the worst that can happen if I don't, and something around the why rather than the what. And I think if we can look at if we can get to, in the time that we've got, get to some of the reasons why, I think that understanding will lead me to be able to deal with it better.
So go on then. Why?
Oh, okay, I knew you were going to do that.
Of course, it's your question.
I know. I think so. One of my biggest sort of strengths and my passion is learning. So a lot of the things I've sort of committed to doing over the last, certainly over lockdown, is lots of learning. So I signed up for some courses. I'm actually nearly finished one of them, which is great. But there's 2 other courses that I have signed up for, and they're online. So there's no, and I think maybe that's part of the problem, is there's no kind of accountability of somebody saying, yeah, are you coming to this session? So I can do it when I want. And I've started one and kind of parked it and gone on to another one. And the other one I haven't started at all. And they are things that are very interesting to me. They're related to coaching and sort of general understanding psychology and human behaviour in general.
May I interrupt you?
Of course.
So telling me what they're about.
Yeah.
Why are you not finishing them?
Why am I not finishing them? I think because I've overcommitted. I've started too many things. So out of the 3 courses, the 2 I signed up for first, they're not, one's not even started, but the one I signed up for most recently, I am nearly finished with, and because I'm kind of interesting and I'm prioritizing it in my day and making the time to do it. So I think so there is something about when I make the time and I set myself some goals to finish it, that's great, but I can't physically do that with all 3 courses at the moment because just because of time. So I don't know why I signed up for 3, because it was never realistic to do all of them at the same time.
So you've overcommitted yourself.
I have overcommitted, and I think I'm interested in all of it and I want to learn it all, and if I wasn't working and all I had to do all day was learn, then that is what I would do. So it's maybe an issue of prioritization.
So Joss, we're just over halfway through. What do you know now that you didn't know at the beginning?
So a couple of things. One is actually the piece about it's not about other people. That was quite an aha moment, actually. I suppose in the back of my mind, I'd realised that, but it's made me think: do I prioritise what I need enough? And I think I probably don't. So there's a little bit there about maybe focusing on me and the sort of self-care piece. The second bit is around it's not the finishing, it's the starting. That's really quite key. And I think that if I start fewer things, I'm more likely to finish more of them. But there's still for me a little bit about the kind of why do I feel I need to do this? So and I think part of it is the fear of missing out. So if I yeah, okay, so I think there's something in there about I feel I have to know everything, and I think it's a bit of imposter syndrome / expert, which is highly relevant for the whole presence and working in the space of not knowing. So that's interesting in itself. I think it's if I don't sign up for this particular course, I'm not going to know something really important that will help me be better at what I do. And if I'm not better at what I do, that means I'm not good at what I do, which I know isn't true. So I think there's a little bit of that in there as well, a bit of imposter.
So what's the imposter bringing to this?
The imposter is saying you need to know more in order to be really good at what you do. And I'm kind of now hearing another voice, which is not the imposter. I don't know which voice it is, but it's saying, oh, come on, that's absolutely ridiculous. You are good at what you do. And yes, there's always things that you can, there's always more things to learn, but actually it's impossible to learn everything. So something about being okay with what you already bring. And don't put pressure on yourself to try and know absolutely everything. I think that's quite important, actually.
So where do we need to take this next in our final 5 minutes?
I think what would be helpful is for me to come up with some kind of strategy to overpower that imposter voice at the point where I'm thinking, oh, I want to do this. This sounds like a good thing to do. And just kind of have the other voice be more louder, to be louder and overcome the imposter. So maybe some kind of little mantra I can say to myself, or a question I can ask myself before I press the commit button, metaphorically. So I think that would be incredibly helpful.
So a mantra or a question. So go on then.
Okay, maybe a question's better than a mantra. So I think the question could be, what will doing this give you? And will it make, is it worth committing to it? Is it worth doing it? And will you get what you want, or is it because you feel you should do it? So it's not a very articulate question, but it does make sense in my head.
Yeah, how's it landing with you?
It's landing. I mean, the question's clunky, and I think I can refine it. But the substance of the question is a good one. And I think the substance and the kind of the motivation behind the question, if I could ask that to myself each time I'm thinking of doing something, and there's a kind of a sub question there, kind of what's the worst that would happen if you don't do it? What will happen? What could happen there? Yeah.
So in our last couple of minutes, you said at the beginning you wanted to be more conscious and confident about your next steps around this. Where are you now?
So I would say I've got more awareness of why I do it, and I think my next step. So what I want to do about it is check in with myself and ask that question to overcome the sort of the imposter bit there. My next step is really to kind of refine that into something that is almost like a mental shortcut, a quick question, rather than what does that mean for me, but just a quick, almost like a, like Dave was saying, he had the weight, which is why am I talking? So almost like a kind of, why am I doing this? And I think, yeah, if I can come up with something that's really short and snappy and will become part of my MO when I do that sort of thing, that would be great.
And when are you going to do that?
I am going to do it straight after our this masterclass.
Great. Great. And do you need any scaffolding, any support from anybody else?
Yes, please. What I'd like to do is a bit of accountability, and I'd really like your help with this if you're able to do that. Is I would like to email you what my question is. You don't have to do anything with it, but just to say I've put it out there and that's what I'm doing, because that will help me a lot with my commitment. I find it easier when I commit to doing something and tell the world about it. That is, I'm more likely to do it than if I just keep it in my head.
So am I the world?
Yes.
Yeah. Oh, great, thank
you.
Is there anybody else you need to tell?
Probably, but I think it's enough that I put it out to you. I don't think it's something the world needs to know.
Okay. So is that a good place for us to finish today, Jill?
Yeah, I think it is. Thank you. That was genuinely helpful. Really good.
Great. Thank you.